When Harry's Wife Met HG, Part 1. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. Many of you follow my work to understand about narcissism. Many of you also follow my work to learn more about Harry's wife. Some of you follow my work to learn about Harry's wife and also narcissism. I use her, albeit as a beige, boring individual, because she's such a prominent example that so many people have an interest in, that allows me to explain her narcissism in action. This is a channel about narcissism and psychopathy. And besides telling you all the various dynamics, facets, ins and outs of the way that the narcissistic and psychopathic mind works, as you know, I analyse famous and infamous people in order to allow you to see real-life examples so that you both realise, so that's why they did what they did or said what they said, but also so you can see aspects of narcissism with real-life examples. I know that you find that very helpful. I determined that Harry's wife was a narcissist many years ago and was most likely the first person that talked about her being a narcissist in any meaningful fashion. I was well ahead of the curve. More and more people have started to accept that that's what she is. Others have yet to learn. I've created more and more material about her because there is such a thirst for information about her activity, both in terms of understanding why she behaves as she does and just learning about where all of this may well end up. As part of my assessment, I studied a wealth of material, much of it in the public domain from a variety of sources, some of it from a private domain, and also based upon my own personal experience of having met her several times. I've alluded to this previously. Now I'm going to start by telling you about the first occasion that I had involvement with Harry's wife. It ought to be apparent to you that I am not going to give you exact details of names and places in order to protect my own identity. What I will be focusing on is more about the actual interaction that she and I had, so that you can understand the way that she behaved, and also what I witnessed in relation to the way that she behaved, which assisted me with my determination of what she is. I'll also break from my usual convention and actually refer to her by name, because that was, of course, what was actually said in the course of the conversations that took place. Accordingly, settle back, and now you can hear about the first time that she met me. The first occasion I met Harry's wife was back in 2016. I was drinking with a group of friends, or non-intimate secondary sources as I would describe them as, and the group was a collection of individuals from backgrounds in sport and journalism, with a couple from the military. The venue was a particular bar which was at Markle and lacked pretension, save from some of its patrons. The venue of this bar is in London and tends to be associated with those involved in fashion and journalism, which meant there's often plenty of easy-on-the-eye fodder combined with a fertile breeding ground for information, whether true or speculative. It was a place that I had been to many times before and have been to several times since this actual meeting. My friends and I were sat around a round table. There were 6 of us in number, and we had been drinking for a couple of hours. It was now approaching mid-evening when one of my friends, Jono, a football agent who worked for a sports agency based in Manchester and London, leaned towards me and said, "HG, there's a woman over there who I think wants your attention." He indicated with his glass behind me, necessitating me turning in my seat. 3 tables away, I saw a lady waving to me with a large smile formed by her bright scarlet lips. "It's Susanna," I remarked. Not her real name, by the way. Susanna is a journalist for one of the national newspapers. She is a rampant gossip, a social butterfly, flirtatious, and an excellent writer. She knows how to write in the language of the hoi polloi, which has given her considerable success. We had a number of liaisons a few years previously. I saw no use for her beyond being an intimate partner secondary source, and she was certainly content with what she had been given and the maintenance of a friendship thereafter. I always, of course, kept the possibility of a return to intimacy alive to maintain her interest. I turned back to my group of friends, not even acknowledging Susanna, which I knew would compel her to come to me in mild irritation at my lack of response. "She's coming over," confirmed Jono. I felt the slight surge of satisfying fuel at this, and within a moment I smelt the always well-perfumed Susanna before she appeared by my shoulder. You would always smell her before you saw her. "Not speaking to me, HG?" she asked, but with a laugh in her voice. "Oh, hello, Susanna," I replied, rising to greet her. "I didn't recognize you over there. I thought it was someone younger. Must be the light in here," I remarked as we embraced. "Wanker," she hissed in my ear as she kissed my cheek. I let out a short laugh of satisfaction at her response to my jibe. "How are you?" she asked. "Flourishing," I replied. "And you?" "Oh, marvellous." "How's Rachel?" Susanna also knows my sister. We talked for a minute or two as I confirmed the status of my sister's well-being, although I was keen to find out what she actually wanted, as I find small talk tedious and boring. "Come and have a drink with me," urged Susanna, linking her arm with mine as if to drag me across the room. "There's someone I want you to meet." I looked back across the room to Susanna's table, where I could see two other women, one dark-haired, the other with ash-blonde hair. "Which one?" I asked. "Dark or light?" "Dark," she replied. "Who's she?" "An actress. I know how you love actresses." "Who?" I responded. "Meghan Markle." I looked again across the room towards the dark-haired woman, who was now looking our way. She gave a toothy smile, as if she recognized that she was being spoken about, and then looked coquettishly down, which struck me as somewhat incongruous, given her actual age. "Never heard of her. She's not one of Hannah's lot, is she?" I replied. Hannah is an actress, a former intimate partner primary source of mine who I was seeing back in 2013. You can read more about her in A Sense of Purpose at narcsite.com. No, replied Susanna. Meghan's American. A septic? Susanna nodded. I looked again at the new acquisition. It was difficult to discern much about her as she was sat down, but she was slender, but not rake-thin. Shiny black-brown hair, which was worn long and straight. Makeup was mainly around the eyes, and she was wearing a simple dress which was fairly short and dark in colour. She glanced and noticed that I was looking across, which then caused her to throw her head back, as if the other lady, the blonde, had said something hilarious, which she clearly had not, judging by the blonde's facial expression at that time. Yes, an actress, I confirmed dryly, as I noticed that this woman then started to talk, and bizarrely started chopping the air in front of her like a pissed-up ninja with her notably oversized hands. Come and say hello, urged Susanna. She loves British men. Thinks she's Taylor Swift, does she? Susanna laughed. Let me finish my drink with these reprobates, I responded, and then I'll come over. Marvellous, trilled Susanna, as she clapped her hands together and skipped away back to her table, like a girl who'd been told she'd made the cut to be a cheerleader. I wasn't bothered about finishing the drinks. I wanted time to find out who this Meghan Markle was. As always, every battle is won before it's ever fought. I sat down. "What does she want?" asked Jono. "Wants me to meet some actress friend of hers," I replied, as I took out one of my several phones from my suit jacket. I punched in a text message to Alastor, a.k.a. Meghan Markle, and then sent the message. I returned the phone to my suit jacket and picked up my drink. I knew she was looking across at me again, no doubt wanting me to turn to look at her, but I was not going to do anything at all until Alastor replied with a briefing package of information about this individual. I took a sip of my drink, listening to the buzz of conversation from my friends, as I again acknowledged that besides making them wait, always pays dividends. In part 2, I'll tell you what happened when I went across and met Harry's wife for the first time.